big fireball. More fire. More fire.
Yes, guys, what's happening? This is the United Forever podcast, episode 4. So we're doing the 2020-21 predictions, part 2. I'm Sam, and I'm with my cousin,
And I'm Adam.
Adam Shagham. And
Adam.
I'm Sam Spam. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. So
Good.
what the highlights of your day been?
Try not to have to shit in a field, I think, today. Yeah, that was
Fucking hell.
the old beef stew got to me last night. And being in my job, I don't have the luxury of of amenities, so occasionally you have to do a head shit, but luckily that didn't happen today.
Mate, have you ever had to like get like a bit of old packaging and just take a shit in it in the back of the van?
Well, I had this situation. When was it? Oh yeah, it was just after lockdown started. And basically, all like the local amenities that I would use to
Yeah.
go to the loo were shut. And I'd had a kebab the
Okay.
night before, and
Oh, nice.
the garlic sausage was doing a conga in my colon, and unfortunately, it was either the case of diving behind a hedge or following through in my pants. So yeah, that happened.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, mate, it reminds me of when we were building our house, and I was obviously in charge of the cement mixer at the time, and I heard Emmy, so the wife's cousin, who's obviously the builder.
Yeah.
He was like, Sam, go and find me an empty bag of concrete. I was like, what the fuck's wrong? I've already emptied the contents in the cement mixer. So I was like, all right then. And he ran down to the basement, obviously, which is like a complete building site, and it was very dark. And I was like, fucking hell, it stinks. And he only went and fucking filled the bag, didn't he? And we were like doing the bloody house in 40-degree heat, and then he only went and bloody left the bag in the skip on the front.
Oh yes,
so, mate, it was just cooking in the heat.
Nice.
But anyway,
can't be a baked turd anyway. Yeah,
I know, bloody hell.
How's your day?
So
been?
going back, the day's been all right, mate. Just been moving furniture around in the classrooms for getting the place ready for the kids that come back next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then going back to the old footy doodah, we've got an interesting thing to think about. So we've signed Vander Baker Cake or Vander
Burke.
Vander Bacon. So would that mean the end of McSauce and Fred?
Well, this is a very good question. I think basically McTominay needs to start asking questions.
Okay. Am I English or am I Scottish?
Exactly, yeah. Because he should have asked some questions at the back end of last season, especially with the form of Pogba. I know he had a good run, but then there was occasions where he was being a bit of a muppet.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's very difficult because if you think about it now, you've got Van der Beek, and Pogba, Matic, and Fred all above him at the moment.
Okay.
And I know he's very young still, so he has got time on his side. But even still, that I would have an alarm bell ringing in the back of my head if I was him. What do you think?
Okay. Well, to be honest, I don't think it's the end for them both. Just
Right?
because I think they make an amazing partnership between
Yes.
themselves,
Yeah.
and we don't want players to like get a minor injury and it turns into something bigger and they require an operation, like what Pog's had this season.
Yeah.
So you need quality on the bench, and I think Ollie not choosing McSauce, he said, "All right, you've made 37 plus appearances this season. You can have
Yeah.
a rest.
Yeah.
Take it easy. You've got your new contract, and also I think what Ollie did with McSauce is what Sir Alex would do with Ollie. He'd make
Right.
him sit on the bench for a good few games or whatever, for a string
Yeah.
of maybe 6 matches, and say, this is educational. Observe,
Yeah.
take notes, and
Get
learn.
and get him wound up a little bit, ready to to bite the bit, sort of thing.
That's the one. Bite the haggis. then Fred, mate, I think Fred has been such a fantastic project
Yeah.
under Ollie, especially Carrick as well, because Fred's publicly
Yeah.
given a lot of sort
Praise.
of gratitude to
Yeah.
Carrick, because he's developed into a very good sort of Premier League player, and also he won, I think, was it January Player of the Month,
Yes.
and people were saying he could be on course for Player of the Season. This was before Bruno popped in,
Yeah.
and obviously before the old Rona explosion over in
Yeah.
Europe. So I don't think it's the end for them,
No.
and I
Okay.
think
All right.
that even though Van der Beek
Yeah.
can literally play in so many positions
Yeah.
in the midfield, Van der Beek's going to be a utility man and give us that extra cover we need in midfield and more options.
Right. Okay.
Just so we need to have more dimensions and not just be predictable in every match. With the same
Yeah.
lineup and the same formation.
Yeah.
So another interesting thing I was going to say, right? So one of my colleagues is Dutch and he used to be a semi-pro footballer over there.
Yes.
And he's a massive Ajax fan, so he knows everything about, Van der Beek.
Yep.
And Ziyech, who's just gone to Chelsea.
Yes.
So my colleague has played against Ziyech's brother in like the third division
Okay.
in the Netherlands, which is pretty mental. So what he said to me is quite interesting because he said Van der Beek could sort of like play more in an advanced role, but when De Jong left to go to Barcelona,
Right.
this is Frankie De Jong, so not Luke De Jong that plays for Old Seville.
Yeah.
So when De Jong left, Van der Beek had to like take on board more responsibilities,
Okay.
sort of in a deeper role. So instead of being a number 10, he could be like a typical 6 or an 8.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I
So
understand.
he's cultured already, which is good.
Yeah. Definitely.
So talking about that kind of stuff, where you'd stick Van der Beek, if you're going to play him with Pogs and Bruno,
Yeah.
what would you do? Where would you stick him? Behind those two?
This is a good question. I think. Do you allow Pogba to move forward and play in a position where he played for Juventus, um, give him more of attacking options? He
Mm-hmm.
should be able to link up well with Bruno, and then play Van der Beek, just behind him,
So doing like a Matic kind of thing, right?
potentially. Or do you put Bruno and Van der Beek together and have Pogba just sitting just behind him? It's a difficult one from my opinion. In my opinion, I think it's
Or
going to
do you
be
just do or a flat 3 in midfield?
right. that could work. But then, are you saying then you'd use obviously if you've got the flat three, Bruno would act as a number 10?
Or just to, like you could have basically three CMs. That's it.
Right.
So
Okay. Would that
three box to box players, literally. You know.
would that leave too much space behind Tony, if we're only playing one up front? I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, the thing is, Tony's so active anyway. He loves to sort of drop deeper, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Collect the ball and do his 1-2s with Rashford on the wing.
yeah.
But I think Van der Beek. Van der Beek. Look at the beak on my on my head. Have you seen my feathers? So sorry. Um, Van der Beek, Baker Cake. He's just going to give us various options. I mean,
Yeah,
Ajax uh, have an easier ride in
yeah,
the Eredivisie, in the Dutch league.
yeah.
He's got God knows how many goals and assists, So I think it was registered like combination of 18 plus goal contributions, which is very good, And he's a young
It is.
lad,
Yeah,
but again, in the Dutch league, you're going to be playing against teams that are like maybe
yeah.
mid
Championship.
championship level,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a bit
That's the thing.
relative.
I think
And
it definitely gives United that unpredictable option now. So where, as you said earlier, whereas before
exactly,
your opponent could pretty much name your starting 11 and where they were going
yeah,
to play. It now gives us that unknown option at the moment because nobody knows exactly who he's going to partner with just yet. Well, the only person who knows that is Ollie, obviously, but
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's going to be interesting.
And then talking about old Jaden, I know we talked about Sancho a little bit last night in the last episode,
Yep.
but do you really truly think that we need to sign him?
Um, I think if we were to sign him, it would hamper Mason Greenwood's progression.
Okay,
Because you would play Sancho over Greenwood regardless, solely because of who he is and what he's
yeah,
achieved so far for Dortmund. Um, but if you don't sign him and Mason gets injured,
yeah.
who are you going to play on the right?
Well, that's the one because I mean Tony's missed a good part of the season, didn't he?
Yeah,
Just before around autumn time,
yes,
and obviously Rashford did his back in, so he was fortunate to have the lockdown to give him time to recover. But
yeah. And we haven't
if
got the
these two are out of
option
the
of
equation,
we haven't got Chong at the moment, who would, in my eyes, potentially fit in that right slot if
yeah,
Mason was to get injured. Um,
that's the one. But I
um,
mean, Chongi, he can play on both wings.
yeah,
For Werder Bremen the other day, he scored a really good solo goal from the right wing.
yeah,
But when he came on as a substitute against LASK Lask at the end of the day,
yeah.
Lask. I'll ask you later about that. But Lask, saying it too many times, it's starting to sound a bit queer. So Lask, he came on as a substitute, didn't he?
Yeah,
And he was just bombing it up and down the left wing with like so much praise, And I
yeah,
thought, mate, we need this kind of energy, and he's really good with the ball, and he can actually do. He's good at set pieces as well, from like under 23s level. So
okay,
seen
yeah,
him,
yeah,
do some magic.
right,
But I personally think we need Sancho because Harry Maguire this season managed to play something ridiculous like 55 games.
yeah,
Next season, if we've got the Champions League and we want to get silverware, I mean, Tony and Marcus, they're going to burn themselves out if they play 60 games.
I agree with you there. And then if we sign Sancho, do we need another backup striker? Because I know we've got Igalo till,
Igalo. Yeah,
until January, is it?
that's the one.
Um,
Right. But I think I said this last week. I've got a crazy theory, right? That Ollie
yeah,
is training McTominay up to be a backup striker as well.
right, okay,
Because at youth level, he was a striker, but then he
yeah,
missed quite a big chunk of his youth time because of like some weird growth spurt problems. Because he just shot up from like 5'9" to 6'4" in the space of just over a year.
right, okay,
So it was pretty mental. But he had been used then
yeah,
as a striker.
okay,
Mourinho came in,
and
promoted him, and then he was
yeah,
just using McSauce as like at a position as a centre back, and that was a bit stupid, really.
yeah.
But I think McSauce could be used as a target man, because he's six
Yeah.
foot four, he's strong, and he's so fit. I'm not saying that I'd suck him off or anything, but sorry, I mean he's physically like it's just
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like, so I think he could be a battler up front as a target man and give
some
us different options.
that's something that potentially you could use in like the League Cup, something like that.
Yeah, of
Give him,
course.
give him 45 minutes as a target man and see what happens.
Yeah, or if you're playing a typical team like Burnley, who
Yeah,
love the good old Stoke tactics, long balls, good
yeah,
old
yeah,
Championship tactics, then you could opt to play McSauce so you can have him there as part of the height battle to try and
yeah,
use him as a target man or to intercept balls and stuff. So I think there are options for him, but
yeah,
we've deviated a little bit away from that. Now, I think if we talk about our preferred 11, let's use the most common tactics used by Ollie, which is the four at the back. He's got two centre mids. He's got one in front of them, which is the AM or
yeah,
attacking midfield. Then you've got three up front.
yeah.
So starting in goal for next season, given that Romero is probably leaving, who would your
Yep.
number one be? And then your
Henderson.
backup as well.
Henderson.
Me too.
I would start Henderson. De Gea needs time out, I think. So I think Henderson needs a run. What's
Yeah.
the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is he does a David De Gea and ends up letting stupid goals in, but that's not going to happen, I don't think.
No. I think he might make a couple of schoolboy errors, but at the end of the day, we can pardon him because De Gea in his first season was so bloody woeful, especially when
Yeah,
it came to crosses.
yeah,
He'd shit his pants every time someone would take the corner.
exactly.
So then we go over to LB,
Yep.
left bollock.
Left bollock, right bollock, middle bollock, what?
So who do you have at left back as your preference, and who would be your backup?
I haven't got a starter at the moment because I don't think
Okay, wow.
that's a position that needs to be filled. Um, I think Williams would be my backup.
Okay.
Can I see? I don't know. Am I being too hard on Shaw?
I don't know. If you're confused, you can phone a friend or ask the audience.
I'll ask the audience. I'm going to go with that's a position that we need to fill at the moment.
Okay, so you've got a big question mark. The
Yeah.
Riddler's there. So
Give
I'm
me
going to go
another couple of
with,
weeks and then I might be able to answer.
yeah, fair bet, mate. I'm going to go in for Williams
Right.
as my preferred left back. But I'm just going to say this: it has to be the pre-lockdown Williams, not the post-lockdown. The pre-lockdown one that was more of a nutter, more aggressive, and he wouldn't be scared to bomb it down the wing.
Yep.
and whip in balls,
Yep.
like looking for balls behind the defender. Whereas Shaw, what fucks me off about Shaw is when he
Yep.
manages to run all the way down to the other end of the pitch.
Yep.
Instead of trying to play the ball behind the defender, who does he pass it to? Who passes it back? Normally to
Yep.
Matic or to Rashford.
Yep.
And it's like wasting all that bloody energy,
Yeah.
Anyway, centre backs. Now, we
Um,
haven't signed any centre backs yet, so let's just choose on what we've got.
choose on what we've got. I'm gonna say, well, Maguire, obviously.
Slabhead.
Yep. And Timbo.
What? Timbo Fosu-Mensah?
Yeah. No, Tuanzebe, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah,
Beg
yeah,
your
all
pardon.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I had
Oh,
a bit
mate,
of a
Axel.
retard moment.
No, don't worry about it. No. But, I mean, seriously, it's all about looking at promoting the youth and stuff. And
Yeah.
Tuanzebe, mate, he's got so much potential.
Yeah.
If he's fit, I'm not going to go down the McTominay route like before, but if he's fit, fucking hell, mate, you've got
Yeah.
to be starting because he's got so much potential.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go exactly the same as you and your two backups. It's going to be quite easy. Sir Jones will not be included.
Yeah. I would say I would bring up oh, what's his name? Is it Mengi?
Wow, Tiedemann Mengi.
Yeah.
He's only had one cameo appearance.
Yeah, I'd bring him up onto the bench and obviously use the Iceman as
Yeah,
a super sub. Yeah.
yeah. Well, the Iceman is still young. Don't forget, he's not reached his peak.
Yeah.
And post lockdown, tackle success rate at 93%. The only thing that lets him down is the aerials. The aerial jaws,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is something that's a bit scary. And what about right back?
It's going to
Pretty
be
easy.
it's going to be our AWB
Yeah,
Wan
Spider
Bissaka.
Man.
Yeah, definitely, and potentially Timbo as his backup, maybe.
Yes, I do like Timbo. He's he's got so much potential, and I hope he gets a contract renewal. I mean, he got an extension till the end of next season.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, mate, the pace, and also because he's from the Ajax youth system,
Yeah.
you're always going to be educated in various positions.
Yeah.
So he can play centre back, he can play right back. Ollie's used him on the left to deputise for Shaw when he fucked up his ankle, and
Yeah.
Williams got a split eyebrow or something, and
Yeah.
he did well. He was, was conservative, and he can play as an anchorman in midfield. So
Yeah.
I want to see more of him. But don't forget, there's a mystery player who will probably be nurtured in next season, which is Ethan Laird.
Yes, I think
Now for the
you're
under
right.
20, now for the under 23s, he was sort of regarded higher than Williams, but
Yeah.
because he had quite a few injuries last season, Williams got the nod ahead of him. So
Yeah.
we've got to keep an eye out for him. Then
Definitely.
let's just go straight in for your preferred midfield three, because it could be, your two typical CMs and an AM in front, or a flat three.
Yeah, I would. I'm going to go for the two centre mids and then the attacking mid. So that would
Yeah.
be we have Van der Beek, um, Pogba, and obviously Fernandez.
Okay.
And the backups would be Fred, McSauce.
Yep.
I would like to say, I think we've got to give Matic another season. I think.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's one of those players that you can bring on when you're in
Yeah.
the lead and you're like, all right, you're going to run around for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
keep things tight, So
Yep.
fair enough. Now I'm going to say something crazy, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to go with my preferred CMs is the Bang Brothers. You've got McSauce and Fred,
Yep.
because I thought they play so well. They're proper battlers, and McSauce is brilliant with the aerial duels. Fred,
Yep.
he's actually proven to have the highest tackling stats,
Yes.
and his forward passing has improved so much.
Okay.
Whereas Matic likes the side passes.
Yes.
And in the attacking midfield, I'm going to go for Bruno. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to publicly say that Pogba pisses me off. I'm sorry, he frustrates me. He's inconsistent. He'll play one worldie and then he'll do
Big.
fuck all for 3 matches, and he
Yeah.
will drop points for you because when he gets the ball in your own half,
Yeah.
he takes 2 or 3 touches too many,
Yeah.
and then
And
he'll
then he
fuck
gets.
up.
Yeah. He kind of ties himself
He
up,
gets
doesn't
caught
he?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Pogba. You get on the bench and you come on for the last 30 minutes, show
Right.
off, do a bit of magic, and
Yeah.
then, do a dab and good old social media posts.
Yeah.
And Van der Beek, I haven't seen enough of him yet. And he's also said today that he's looking forward to sort of physically strengthen himself up a bit,
Okay.
because the Premier League is just renowned for being so physical, whereas the Dutch league is
Yeah.
not at all. They love the triangle passes,
Yeah.
typical Spanish tiki taka sort of stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Now,
Okay.
front three, with what we've got, this is pretty easy, mate.
Yeah. I think
What would you say?
it's going to be the Mason, Martial, and Rashford. I think
Yes, the triple M. And what
definitely.
about your. Now, let's go starting from the left. Who would be your backup left forward?
I It's difficult because
Would you play James? We ain't got Chong anymore.
it's gonna. Yeah, I think
Would
with
you
what if we're going with
Jesse?
what if we're, no, I think if we're
Exactly.
going with what we've got, it's going to have to be Dan James. I think he he has had a pretty piss poor deal the back end of last season. I think just solely because he didn't fit anywhere.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yeah, I think he would be my preferred um, backup then.
And then what about Tony Marshall's backup? I think we've only got one there.
Yeah,
Also, because Damani Mella did his Achilles
yes,
in, didn't he? So he was our sort of target man for the under 23s. So
yes.
our only option, mate, would be
Well, it was going to have to be Ingalo.
the
But
Nigerian R9.
yes, I think given time, he could potentially do a job. He's done okay in the time that he's been with the club. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think yeah,
But, I mean, we might have to sign someone else in January.
I
Or,
I wouldn't look that far ahead. I think we need to sign somebody like in the next 10 days or so, because otherwise you're going to have the whole Bruno Fernandes situation again, where
okay.
you've lost too much time between the start of the season and January, and then
Yeah.
they've then
I
got
don't
to
know
fit
what
into
the
us.
budget will be like, though, if we could
Well,
sign Upamecano or Sancho.
I think if you sign Sancho, that kind of kills two birds with one stone, doesn't it? Because then um, what you could potentially do then is have Mason as Tony's backup,
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's another thing. He could be nurtured into more of a number 9.
Yeah,
So yeah, that'd be pretty interesting.
yeah.
And then what about your backup for Mason then? Just based on what we've got right now.
That's yeah. It's lesser of two evils. Who do you choose, Matt or Lingard?
Oh
I
no,
think
mate. Well,
if you choose Matt, he's going to have to make sure that his mobility scooter's charged every Saturday.
I know, but he
Uh,
somehow still managed to provide assists. You know.
yeah, don't get me wrong. The bloke can play, but it's just,
Yeah.
is he up to speed? That's the thing. And if someone was to ask me the question now, is he up to speed? I would say no. Simple as.
Okay. And I would probably go 3 options. So we said Blingard, we've got Mata, Dalot can play as a forward, right? Like he did against Tranmere, and he actually got a nice goal, you know.
Yeah,
But then we could also say Ethan Laird,
yeah. I
because
suppose so.
he's more of a threat going forward. I think his forte is going forward as a wing back as opposed
Yeah.
to like being a solid defensive wing back. But who
Go.
would I choose right
Yeah.
now? I'd probably have to say Matt based on
Okay.
what we got.
Fair enough.
And then sorry, what
Yeah.
were you
I was
saying?
going to say, with Dalot, do you think that um, having Fernandez, his countryman, with him, is going to help him settle in and find a groove, maybe?
Possibly. I mean, you
Because
know, Bruno's a leader.
yeah,
He screams at players on the pitch, which is what you need. And I
yeah,
think because Dalot's from a similar culture, he'll respond much better to that kind of motivator.
yes,
So, but I think from a financial perspective, sell him now, where you can get a good 15 million
yeah,
plus. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, there's been rumours that Barcelona are interested, which I think is a bit of bullshit. Everton's more realistic, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Because Shaman's going to do his magic. Sorry, what's his name? Fucking Seamus Coleman
yeah, yeah,
is, you know, coming to the end of his career and all that. So
yeah,
I think Dalot could work well with Ancelotti. Now, there was a question we penciled in, which was, do we need a director of football? But I
yeah,
think that question itself could actually, you know, be part of an actual show, you know, or that could be the centerpiece of
yeah.
our next show, you know.
Okay,
So I'm not going to ask that question now, but I've got one last Banter question because we've gone over the half-hour mark,
yeah.
and this final question is: how many faces will Sir Jones pull next season?
Well, it all depends on if he stays fit. Because if he's not fit, then he can't pull a face. But I'm going to go with I'm going to go with 15.
Wow, that is brilliant, mate. What a number! And
Yeah.
also, get this: there are serious rumours that Steve Bruce wants to sign Sir Jones at Newcastle.
Well, that basically would put Newcastle in relegation. In relegation, that would,
I,
the bloke would
I
not
know,
stay
mate.
there. Basically, you know, talking of Newcastle, they're just an absolute joke of a club at the moment.
They're a Banter club with old Ashley in charge.
So
But I reckon,
potentially
you
that
know,
could work. Have Sir Jones up there on the northeast, and take Lingard with him, and then you got yourself a good comedy duo.
oh, mate, that would be pure Banter. That would be brilliant. You know, some heading slide tackles.
Yeah, that's it.
If you don't know what that is, if anyone's listening, just check it out in Google Images. Phil Jones
The one where he got a friction burn on his head.
slide tackle header.
Yeah,
I mean, what the fuck was all that about?
I know. To
But
get a
legend,
friction
mate.
burn on your forehead is again, as I said in the last episode, Phil Jones, the gift that keeps on giving. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It is,
mate.
um,
Yeah,
him
I
and
know.
Lingard together, is just something else. It's amazing, really.
It is. Absolute quality. Well, I think we should wrap it up there, matey, because we've had a very, very consistent and decent show there. So, if you're listening, do us a favour, click on the like button. If you think we're a pile of cunts, then click on the dislike button, or maybe like, because you might like cunts like us.
Wow,
And
exactly.
then you can also click on the bell if you want any notifications, and also click on the subscribe button because our
Definitely.
subscribers keep going down the pan. Right now they're on number 7. 7 is a good number.
Yeah,
You know, Bex, Ronaldo, etc. So
exactly.
come on, click on that subscribe button. All right. So we'll be
Yes,
launching a new show over the next week. So let's wrap it up, matey.
definitely. And
So
it's over and out.
over and out. See you later, chronic masturbators.